Okay, hello everyone. We are. I'm very glad that I can meet you here at this demo day, the second demo day that we have, that is part of UNCHAIN FinTech Festival, one of the biggest CEEs FinTech events in Europe, and that will happen in Oradea, in amazing Oradea, on the 19-20 of June this year. So here at the demo days, the main purpose of these demo days are mainly to create an engagement of the multiple ecosystems in the among fintech startups and investors from multiple countries. This is basically like a CE tour that we were planning before the big event. The main purpose being to create a network and business growth. And in this session, at this particular demo day, being the second one, we'll have countries like Slovenia, Croatia, and Serbia, where 4 startups from the mentioned countries and also 4 investors from the mentioned countries will be joining us, where startups will pitch to the investors and the investors will evaluate those startups, and the startup that receives the higher points will be fast-tracked to the startup tournament of UNCHAIN. So moving forward, here we can see the agenda that it's happening in the next 1.5 hours, where startups will have a pitching session, afterwards a Q&A session from the investors. Afterwards, we'll have a very insightful fireside chat table with investors where they will share about their perspectives of investing. It will be very interesting because the cultural differences between the countries is very interesting, and if you can see the insights that those investors are having when they invest, especially in startups from different countries, that will be very insightful for us to see. After the fireside chat, we'll have the winner announcement, where the winning startup will be fast-tracked to the startup tournament. Each of the startup will receive a pass to the event, but only one will have the chance to be fast-tracked, where they will have the opportunity to meet with important stakeholders in the fintech ecosystem in CE. Okay, the event will be 1.5 hours. And now we're going to start presenting who will be also live with here today. So we're going to start with the investors, and the first one is Mili Ibrush from Filrush Capital, which is an investment fund from Croatia, whose funds are early stage, focused on early stage businesses from pre-seed, seed, and Series A. And a very interesting thing that Filrush says is that they have 10 reasons to work with them. And one of them is that they love bold founders and they provide capital for the bold. I like that kind of thing. And yeah, the rest of the 9 reasons, I kindly invite you to discover yourself. So thanks, Mili, for being with us today. Moving forward, we'll have Bojan Jovic from TS Ventures from Serbia. And Bojan is a member of the supervisory board of TS Ventures, a fund created in 2021 by the Telecom Serbia company as a first corporate venture fund in this part of Europe. Their primary goal is mainly to support and invest in technological and business solutions, mainly for the benefit of the communities in the various areas of life. So thanks, great to have you here, Bojan. Moving forward, we'll have Tina Kastravek from South Central Ventures from Slovenia. And she's associated at South Central Ventures, mainly a VC that is investing in most promising high-growth tech companies. They have offices in multiple countries, and their primary target is early stage and growth investments in technological companies. Their investment focus is on this kind of companies with high growth, and the main purpose of invested capital is mainly to facilitate international business expansion and growth. Glad that you're here with us today, Tina. Last but not least is Peter Merk from Suricat Ventures from Slovenia. And Peter has been in the banking and fintech business space for the last 12 plus years in various roles. He was also a member of the supervisory board in Slovenian System Bank, advisor in the capital markets and compliance, tech entrepreneur, fintech legal advisor, and also a founder of a blockchain startup. Yes, Peter is also the founder of Zurich Adventures, a VC that had focused on pre-seed, seed, and early growth in startups focused on the tech side. So glad that you're here as well, Peter. Now that you all know and seen the investors, let's take a look of the startups that had the courage to be here and somehow compete for being fast-tracked at the festival. The first startup that I'm going to present is Farseer, and here we have Matija Navik, the founder of Farseer. And you can think of Farseer as an Airtable for finance. We all know that finance teams spend 80% of their time on manual work, and working like this is very unreliable, causing huge stress and overtime hours. So Farseer came up with a solution to give those finance teams the building blocks to build and automate all their processes, from invoicing to closing, planning, reporting, and financial consolidation. As Matija will say, think of Farseer as an Excel built for enterprise, a spreadsheet in the front and a powerful analytical engine in the back. And wow, it's amazing. Thanks, Matija, for being here today. Moving forward, we'll have Adrian Stavlenik from Uninet, also from Croatia. He is the founder of Uninet, a decentralized storage and computing platform, as the base for decentralized scalable networks with fully automated processes. Somehow it redefined internet infrastructure and data protocols to enhance user experience, privacy, security, and credibility. And the whole ecosystem, think by Adrian, is designed to support the development of AI-powered self-sustainable project. So thanks, Adrian, for being with us today. Looking forward to know more about your startup. Next on the pitching list is Dusan Bobicic from Uplati from Serbia. Dusan is the founder of uplati.rs, a free online application that allows you to create digital payment requests and share them with others via a link. You can think of Uplati like a Revolut, but from Serbia. And yes, looking forward to see the potential of scaling a new unicorn. Moving forward, we have Ales from InsureCap Slovenia. And Ales is the founder of, InsureCap, the CEO of InsureCap. And InsureCap is a startup that transformed risk management through algorithmically driven augmented underwriting, employing AI and computer vision with image caption fusion for comprehensive coverage, basically resolving the limitation in the traditional insurance processes. Their platform streamlines the processes, predicts risks, and proactively and fosters accessibility communication through the chatbot conversation flow. Glad, Alice, that you have joined today. Very curious about your startup InsureCap and see how the potential of scaling. So these are the startups that will pitch, and now we're gonna move forward with all the startups that are gonna pitch. The investors will evaluate them, and one of them will be for the fast track at the UNCHAIN festival. And the first startup that's gonna pitch is Matija Farseer. I hope you can hear me well, Matija. I'm hearing the sound. Not sure if it's my side or on your side.
I hear you well, but I also hear some wind.
Okay, great. Now I don't.
Not me.
Yeah. Okay. Now it's very okay. We can hear the wind. So, Matija, you have 5 minutes of pitching and 5 minutes afterward of Q&A. Whenever you're ready, please start.
Great. Thanks. Hi, my name is Matija Nakic. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Farseer, and Farseer is low-code SaaS for finance teams. Finance teams spend a great majority, almost 80% of their time on manual work. And they rely on a mishmash of spreadsheets, SaaS tools, and legacy enterprise software to get their work done. Excel is used, as you know, in almost every single finance process. Excel is cool when you're using it as a single person, but in the enterprise environments, it really breaks. Its formulas are like spaghetti code. There is no data integrity. It's very limited in terms of rows that it can support, and the collaboration really sucks. So it's flexible, but it's also very manual and unreliable. On the other end of the flexibility spectrum, you have enterprise software, which is consultant heavy, takes a long time to implement, very user hostile, and it's locked for the end customer. So it's reliable, but then it's also very rigid and very manual. And this is why we created Farseer. We believe there is a better way. We took the best of spreadsheets and the best of enterprise software and created something that's low-code tool for finance teams to build and automate their processes in everything from invoicing, closing, financial planning and forecasting, analytics, consolidation, and actually much more. We started as financial planning and analysis solution, and that's where we still position ourselves. But our customers started kind of hacking Farseer and building a lot of other things along the way. So basically, you can think of Farseer as Airtable and Google Sheets kind of combo that allows finance teams to build very elaborate internal apps. Farseer is essentially based on a spreadsheet experience. Behind that spreadsheet, you have a database, and underneath the hood, we built our own analytical engine that's optimized for crunching huge amounts of data in real time. And this is essential for every single one of our customers. Data is multiplying like never before, and there's less and less people that can actually manage this data. So this automation and this strength of processing all the data is extremely important. At the moment, we have 42 customers. We're a team based in Croatia with 25 people. Our ARR is 700K and growing. We plan to be at 1.6 million we raised 1.6 million in investments so far. And the really cool thing is that we already have competitive wins over established enterprise software vendors like IBM and SAP. Our customers are based mostly in the Adria region at this point. They're some of the biggest brands here, like Croatian Telecom, Podravka, Delta Holding, Končar Group, Violeta, and many more. Croatian Telecom implemented Farseer, and they already had enterprise legacy planning and forecasting solution in place, and we essentially replaced that plus more than 1,000 spreadsheets for them. And they really love the solution because we managed to automate a great deal of their process, and their forecasting went from 2.5 weeks to basically a few hours, or let's say they get it over within 1 day. So they wrote us a couple of love letters, and this is one of them. And now we're expanding to other scenarios there as well. For example, they're building ESG on their own in Farseer, which is a very interesting thing for us. Our current go-to-market is we're focused on mid-market and enterprise customers. So customers that have a lot of spreadsheets, that have more than 10 planners, who already have an established process. We're very industry agnostic, so we can cover everything, and we focus on CFO and head of FP&A. Our geos is mostly now Adriatic. We also have partners now in DACH, Czech Republic, and the Middle East, and we're building the pipeline with them. Our go-to-market strategy is essentially using planning as a beachhead. We want to offer lower prices than the competition and then expand to other use cases and have a very, very high NRR. Our channels are direct sales and partners, and we get them through outreach and events, and we're building inbound now. As for the competition, enterprise solutions are not built for wide adoption. Like I said, they're very consultant heavy, and in the end, planners use Excel again. And modern solutions really are nice looking and simple to implement, but they lack the crunching power to satisfy enterprise level data. This is our founding team. We're 4 engineers that have previous exits, and we want to build the future of enterprise software. Our vision for the Farseer is building a platform for building enterprise apps, much more than just financial planning and modeling, and this is the path that we're on.
Cool, thank you, Matija. Last final proposition, please, if you want. Just the last final.
Yeah, we're now basically preparing for Series A, and we're building a new version of our in-memory database that will increase performances up to 100%, up to 100x, sorry. We're building our AI co-pilot that will speed up the onboarding for our customers. We're going to be at $1.3 million of ARR by the end of the year, and with an NRR of over 120.
Nice, great. Sounds amazing. I invite now the investors for the Q&A session. I'm sure there are a lot of questions that are on point. So please, whoever has a first question, please jump in.
Maybe I can start.
Yes.
Mattia, thank you very much for a great pitch. You just briefly mentioned about the team. Can you give us more details about the team and the specialization of the team members?
So me and Zriko, we're all four engineers, computer engineers. We started in different environments, but Zrinko and I started in a telecom company, and we went through a lot of pain and suffering, as you probably know. Working in a telco company and working in these processes with 100 other people in Excel is a complete nightmare. The other two guys had their own company that they actually sold and exited, and we kind of had a very good match of understanding the problem. We had long previous friendships, and we kind of got together and said, let's build this thing that hasn't been built before. As for the rest of the team, we're covered on all key positions. We have a customer success team that does the implementations and onboarding of the customers. We have sales and marketing team and product development team that handles the whole product.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, can I? Thank you for the presentation. Very interesting product that you have. My question would be with regards to the setup. So we know that there are legacy software or tech infrastructure in the companies. Then there are some data silos. How does it look, this implementation process or a setup process in, let's say, one really big company?
If it's a really big company, our average is 3 months, because it takes time to understand their problems a bit and to onboard them to Farseer, because they have to learn the paradigm and start building with us certain scenarios. For smaller companies, it's 1 month. That's kind of the experience so far. We're continuously lowering the onboarding time. That's one of our primary KPIs. And basically everything that our customer success team learns on the field, we kind of bring back to the product and try to automate the biggest pain points for the customer or the customer success team that's helping with onboarding.
Okay, and what about the pricing policy you have? So it's, I would say it's based. Oh, please tell, not me.
Yeah, it's based per seat. So we essentially charge per seat. Most of our customers take yearly licenses because we sell, like I said, mostly to mid-market and enterprise companies. And they take Farseer for different issues. Some of them use Farseer for demand planning. Some of them use it for financial planning. We have workforce planning, different kind of entry points. And then what we've seen on the field is that they tend to add seats, right? So they expand, and our NRR is 125%. So we're also working on growing that as much as possible and increasing the flexibility of the platform, so we can have kind of out of this world NRR of 200% or more.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question. So you said that you're looking for Series A right now. How much money is that, like, if you translate it for you guys? Because you already have a good ARR, right? And it's usually like it would be late Series A, early Series B, what you would be looking for. So
we essentially raised seed about 17 months ago, and we plan to raise Series A in first half of the next year. We didn't structure the round completely yet. We're working on that. But estimate is somewhere between 5 and 7 million.
okay.
Basically for expanding to other markets and continue developing the product. Those are the two key things that we need.
And then that means basically going to the DACH region in terms of
we already have partner in the DACH region, but yeah, expanding more intensely in in Europe and Middle East. Those are kind of the two key hubs that we see now as very interesting markets for us.
And do you expect to have like one investor or multiple ones?
I assume it will be multiple investors. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thanks.
Welcome.
And just a couple of quick ones, Mattia. Thank you for the presentation. So the first question is around your ARR. Is it purely SaaS based, or do you have anything on the service side? Basically, when you're doing onboarding and stuff, do you do any charges there? And the second question is around you. So you were mentioning a lot the consultancy part, that it's a problem on the side of the current ERPs. How do you plan to cope with this later on? Because as the tool becomes more complex and more people use it, probably there'll be consultants that are going to jump into this. So what's the service side of the Farseer involved in the whole story?
The ARR is based on recurring licenses, the number that I mentioned. We do have some service revenue, but that's not our main focus. We mostly charge very big and complex implementations where you have much more services. We developed packages that we use for mid-market companies that contain best practices, and that's kind of fast onboarding in this case. As for the consultants, I'm not sure if I understood the question, Mili, but please correct me if I didn't. So you asked if ERP is rather complex, and then with time you need consultants, actually, right?
Yeah.
We essentially are not against partners. I think there are certain customers that will always need white glove implementation, and we don't mind, partners making money from Farseer platform. But I believe our partner model can be quite different, because our partners can be financial advisories or companies that don't really have deep technical knowledge, because Farseer is easier to implement than, say, Anaplan or some other kind of very tech heavy tool. So we expect to have partners in the future, but it will be a different model. It will not be a model in which you come and charge €500,000 for implementing and sit in the company for 1 year or more, which is the existing model for enterprise software. And this is something that we want to change, and we want to democratize that. So we're not against partners. Absolutely, we're for them. But we think it will be a bit more similar like HubSpot, right? So HubSpot came up with this mid-market tool that's basically changing the paradigm and allowing marketing agencies to become implementators and partners of HubSpot, rather than very deep kind of technical companies like system integrators.
Yeah, that's just a final one here. Sorry, the sales cycle, how long it is?
Please keep it short, Matija.
Yeah, it's 3 months in average.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thanks. Unfortunately, yeah, we gotta also be time-wise, so I'm sure there are a lot of other questions. So we're gonna move now forward with the next startup that's gonna pitch, namely Adrian Stavrznik, also from Croatia, Uninet. And one important thing, yes, I would like to remind the investors to don't forget to vote to evaluate the startup that pitches. You have the form on the chat and as well on the email that I have sent you. Yes, indeed, the startup that has just pitched, it's kind of hard to replace the spreadsheet, but yes, the fact that Matija works on this is amazing. And yes, you're going to have the chance to meet her live at UNCHAIN in Oradea. So now, Adrian, you'll have 5 minutes of pitching and then 5 minutes of Q&A. Don't forget to share screen, your pitch. And whenever you're ready, yes, you can start.
Thank you. So let me share the screen first. All right, is it visible?
Yes, all good.
All right, perfect. So my name is Adrian, and the Uninet is a concept of new internet and the new way that we live our lives through the digital era. So we've been seeing lots of emerging technologies into the digital space, such as blockchain, artificial intelligence. We are progressing towards quantum computing. And the issue here is that lots of new smart individuals are able to understand such system, which currently has lots of flaws for the current today's Web 2 internet, how we call it. So the Web 2 internet is basically creation of communication between single servers, dependent on certain protocols, algorithms, etc., that use the certain programming languages that are able to be manipulated through various holes in the today's security system. So we started with the bottom, which is basically the fundamentals of how the internet is constructed. And we decided to redesign the whole concept of the data transfer to make the internet more stable, more secure for the future of upcoming technologies, and to make new opportunities in business using and utilizing AI and blockchain technology, which is not yet seen in certain areas, in certain industries, but is slowly getting adopted through existing blockchains. So when we talk about the possibilities of such new internet infrastructure, it would allow certain new technologies such as XR to compute on a global scale the amount of data that is not being able to be verified through today's technology of their authenticity and integrity. But with blockchain, we're able to create the system that will allow each single information that is being transacted through the internet to be confirmed as authentic information that is true and not something of scam type. So our goal is to create the leading computational DLT infrastructure. And that means that we've designed a new system that will communicate through the blockchain technology with other blockchains. And how we do that? It's basically the ability to create more than one operating system and more than one hosting more than one blockchain on the same node. And each single blockchain that we create is now able to communicate with one another, and we solve the instant interoperability, which is a huge problem in today's blockchain space. Interoperability allows us for the seamless operation and transactions and communication between different servers and transact such information between businesses in the most secure way. So when we speak about the ability and the end goal of what the Uninet is here about, we want to create a system where we will be able to create a full cycle automation in the world that will allow the robotics and AI to create the self-manageable businesses that would be able to produce from the single mining of natural resources to the creation of the end product, where we have the ability to also potentially eliminate the global hunger and homelessness through such new technologies. So we're thinking about the future-proof system. That means that new technologies that are coming our way will be able to disrupt the security or not. So we designed the system in a way that even the quantum technology that is coming, we will be able to gradually transcend to such technology and utilize it, while in the process of transcending and bridging to that technology, we will not be a danger for our customers and for the whole ecosystem. So basically, the potential of this network is unlimited. We are able to build the projects in blockchain with any programming language, which is not the case in today's blockchains. We are able to create the mutability of any programming language. That means that once deployed on the internet, the code cannot be changed or influenced by anyone. This is what the Web3 stands for the ultimate security. And the system is designed in a way to scale basically infinitely, which means that it's determined based on the physical computational resources. And we are aiming to have more than quadrillion transactions per second. And we are able to do that with parallel computing, because we now have not one blockchain, we have set and unlimited amount of blockchains that can compute transactions in parallel throughout the whole globe. Today, we use the HTTPS protocol to access all the websites, all the applications. Uninet is here to provide a decentralized storage, which will enable you to use the UNP protocol to securely access any hosted application or the website over the new era.
If you can wrap it up, Adrian, one last highlight to be time-wise.
Sure. So in order to do so, we can easily just assign different amount of nodes that we want and assign it to different protocols for the security. And this is the potential of quadrillion in trillion of the market size, where I do have the team already, which is here to help us to scale the project. I'm the founder, and we also have the open gates for the whole UK government establishing rules on such technologies. Planning to set up the company in Dubai with all the connections I have so far. So we're forming the partnership, secure 300,000 euros, looking for 1 million more in order to develop the MVP in the 2 years time frame.
Great. Thanks, Adrian. Now we are going to invite the investors for the Q&A session. It's amazing that you managed to secure 300K in this kind of time. So I'm inviting all investors if they have questions for Adrian. Yeah.
Yeah, can I start? So please correct me if I'm wrong, if I understood it not perfectly well. So you are building layer 1 fully permissionless blockchain protocol. Is that correct?
It's a hybrid of layer 1 and layer 2, because we have the main blockchain, which is a set of tools and frameworks that will allow you to easily create your own blockchain. So once you create your own blockchain, you can then, on top of it, create another one that is scaling your own, which is the layer 2. Okay.
So my question would be, we are all aware of this blockchain trilemma, security, scalability, and decentralization. So until today, I don't believe that any network, any blockchain platform solved that perfectly well. Where do you see your weakness? In which of these three?
The architecture is designed to solve all the three. So we have the decentralization, which basically means that the underlying operating system, which is hosting all the blockchains, is fully decentralized. It uses practical Byzantine federative agreement, which means that it has a certain fault tolerance amount of nodes that can be wrong. So we also have the scalability, which is not defined by software, it's defined by the computing resources. That means that it's basically infinite. The stronger computing resources we have in the world and stronger hardware, it will scale more. Because we allow not one blockchain, we allow multiple blockchains to transact and process at the same time. We have the parallel computing. And we also have scalability, decentralization, and you mentioned the third one.
The decentralization. So it's a decentralization is the third one. Yeah.
Exactly. So when you create your own blockchain, it's completely decentralized. Also, although it's in your own hands, that means that all the nodes that host your own blockchain have the ability to compute transactions only through the practical Byzantine Federative Agreement Protocol, PBFA. So you have the control to deploy projects on your blockchain, and you can have the choice to make certain part of the code immutable. You don't have to, but you can. And once you decide to make certain part of the code immutable, it's not changeable in the future. But the other parts can be changed and influenced, so you're able to delegate the authority over certain applications to your audience, to your company, or the third party, such as partners.
Okay, thank you.
I have another question. So you're clearly trying to be a company on a VC track. What about in terms of an exit in 5 to 7 years? What would be your ideal exit?
So if you're asking for the standpoint of investor, what would be their exit?
I'm asking for your standpoint. What is your standpoint?
I do not plan to exit from my company, because I have the long-term vision for it to grow, and this is something that I'm planning to leave after for 50, 100 plus years, something that will be scaled and developed further as a fundamentally changed infrastructure of the whole digital era.
Okay.
Can you tell me a little bit about business model? How do you plan to make some money?
Yeah. So the basic partnership we have is with all the hosting provider companies. So they do have their servers. And once user or the business wants to create their own blockchain, they will need the hosting company that we have partnered with to provide their hardware service. So we will be charging on top of their own pricing of the computation resources they have. We will be charging a subscription plan for you to be able to conduct your business. So we'll also have additional plugins that you can use and install on your blockchain that will be able to monetize further.
I have additional question, if I may. So maybe also refers to the previous question. So I saw you have your own token. So I guess it would be relevant for your business model. What are the utility features of this token?
Exactly. So we'll be having two types of tokens. One is basic currency, and the other is the NFT. So the currency is going to be the native way of transferring value through the Uninet. It will be the first value transfer asset. While the NFT is here to help strategically all the businesses and investors in the early stage. So we'll be forming 2,100 NFTs that will create you a lifetime access of free services. And once such NFT is being resold through the Uninet, a percentage of this will be sent to the donation system, where we will support the new businesses and the new startups that will be building on top of the Uninet.
One last short question. Okay, if there are no other questions, yes, thank you. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you also the investors for the insightful questions. And now we're going to move forward to the next startup that we will have, namely, we have here Dusan Bobicic from Serbia. It was, very interesting to hear the previous startup, which you can also meet live at the event in June. Please, all the viewers of this demo day, don't hesitate to connect with those that you see here. So, Dusan, you'll have 5 minutes of pitching and 5 minutes of Q&A. Whenever you're ready, please start.
Yep. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, all good. I can hear you.
Perfect. So we are, our developer team or small company is named Uplati.rs. It's a person-to-person instant payment, currently credentials generator. We're hoping it's going to be a payment provider in the near future. And we're quickly going to go through the team. It's me and Philip. We are co-founders. With a bit more how that story came. But we're currently actually senior developers at one of the middle Swedish banks called SIA Bank, here in Belgrade, actually. And currently working on Uplati as a kind of a bigger side project. So quick introduction to Uplati.rs. It was born from necessity, and it was built for convenience. And it actually happened on one of our, let's say, traveling to work, where I needed to transfer Philip some money for a smaller, let's say, it was a burger or something in that kind of range. And instead of giving him cash and trying to find him in Belgrade, the idea was to try to do a bank account transfer, and it was really painful to put in all of the credentials in case it's a bank account number. And we kind of opted out into creating an app for that. And we did a web and the mobile application based on National Bank of Serbia's instant payment system QR code. And actually, the first customers were friends, family members, colleagues, and other acquaintances that we met along the way. We also had a couple of spotlights in the news outlets where we had kind of a pitch of the solution, and it started getting traction into people actually using this application. So we kind of iterated a couple of times through it. Yep, and it really actually eases up our day-to-day life when it comes to transferring money. So a bit of a statistics on the IPS system in Serbia. It accounted for 67 million transactions in 2023, which is 10% of all digital transactions. And it had almost 50% increase from year to year from compared to 2022. And fee that is paid is a flat transaction rate of 0.1 euro, which is nothing. So in that regard, a bit of a future of what we actually have installed for Uplati and what we plan to be is something as an instant payment system called, maybe rebranded to something like the SavaPay, where you can request and receive the payments. This is actually a feature that we already have, but due to payment infrastructure not being supported, we don't have it implemented with the bank apps, but we're planning it to be a chat-based payment system where you can request and receive money from different persons in your contact lists. And kind of a possibility is that we hope to scale the business to is first to be a direct person-to-person fund transfer, as there are some already proven concepts around the world, like let's say Swish in Sweden or Vips in Norway, as well as WeChat in China or Venmo, like Revolut, as you've mentioned, and to have long-lasting payment links, which people actually currently still use, that we actually support. They use it for paying the rent, paying the bills. This is the system that's already being used with telecom companies to generate QR codes for paying bills, as like I say, Telecom Serbia bills. As well as we would like to be a payment provider for businesses where we would kind of offer lower transaction fees compared to Visa and MasterCard, as well as provide secure and easy flow for the customers. And we hope that the app would be customer oriented, and this way it will attract as much customers as it can to scale up, to incorporate the whole digital transaction space. We also hope to expand this in the region if possible, but that's a far-fetched goal. And the key requirements of this is that we need to offer data and privacy security, which we, with current solution, we already do, because we don't store any data compared to, believe it or not, there are different competitors to our IPS credential generator that actually store data. We don't do that with the current solution. Your data is not stored anywhere. We need to offer encryption, and you need to have a certified personnel to handle the data, as well as to establish partnerships with banks, National Bank of Serbia, as well as build trust with merchants. And the most important thing is educating the consumers, the general population, as well as merchants to transition into cashless space in the digital transaction world. So a big part will be on promoting cashless transactions. And we would really like to thank you, everyone, for inviting us for this event. We're not as different startups, or we have stuff set up. We're more like a well-established developer team. And please let us know if you have any questions, or you can also reach us at
Thank you, Dusan. Thank you. I really love those kind of startups, you know, that the founder encounters a problem in real life and afterwards really implement to solve that kind of problem, and a nice startup arises. It's nice to see that. Okay, I welcome the investors to put questions to Dusan. Also, I remind you guys to not forget to evaluate the startups that are pitching. So, questions?
I can start. So you said it yourself that there are a lot of competitors, right? And I mean, I'm from Slovenia, and I know of similar solutions already existing, like you also have Revolut and things like that. How do you plan to differentiate yourselves?
We plan to differentiate ourselves by adapting the solution to the to the markets that it's going to be built on. I mean, Revolut and other apps like Swish, there's going to be now Viber Pay, and there's also the National Bank of Serbia's Tenesi system. We find it unfriendly to user experience. So we plan to address that field, as well as address the digital e-commerce space. This is kind of mine and Philip's background, actually. We come from the digital e-commerce space at SIA Bank. So this is where we see a big potential in the market, especially in the countries in the region, like Serbia, North Macedonia, Montenegro, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and other surrounding countries.
Okay, can I add something, because it's referring to the previous question? So you mentioned that you are planning to be chat-based payment system. So recently, that was, I think, a week or 2 weeks ago, X Twitter published that they received 15 plus licenses for money remittance and money transmission in United States. So X is also going towards being the, let's say, super app, or including payment platform. In addition, at least one bank here in Slovenia already enables Viber payments. So I think it's Addiko Bank. I don't know if they are also present in Serbia. So these are two, I would say, already established chat-based payment solutions. So how do you plan to let's say play against them? And the second question would be you mentioned you're planning to be payment provider. So are you planning to become electronic money institution, payment institution, meaning having a light banking license, or what are your plan with regards the licensing?
Yeah. Well, let's start with licensing. When it comes to licensing, it's really hard to obtain them. They are also very expensive, as well as they require really skillful, let's say, personnel. So we're probably going to be trying to become a payment facilitator in this regard, and now we cannot become a payment institution overnight, right? So that's in that regard. So our plans in the near future are not that big. We're actually going to start with peer-to-peer transactions, something like, as you mentioned, is a Viber Pay. When it comes to the competition, as you've mentioned, yes, there is big competition on the market. Thing is that, let's say how Swish, for example, lives in Sweden, is that it's a homemade product. And people there really enjoy their homemade product because it's oriented for them. Viber Pay is made to be universal, and it will have nuances and problems that are not specific to the market that is going to be presented. So it's not going to cover. And of course, the kind of revenue stream actually is from the e-commerce field. And I'm not sure if Viber Pay is going to be available in the e-commerce field. I'm completely not sure. Like, let's say there's a Sweden that doesn't have it, for example, or Norway or Finland. So that's the kind of the general idea, is we try to find a spot in the market, especially in the e-commerce world.
Okay, thank you.
So what would be the markets you would find the spots on? Do you have any idea about the markets where you believe with such product you have a chance for any reason you believe?
Yep. So the market that we actually have the space in is the e-commerce market, where currently, if you want to order something online, especially in the region, there's you either pay by card, and the merchant pays a big transaction fee with the card. If we can reduce the transaction fee for the merchant, then it pays off to them to actually use our solution, right? So that would be the e-commerce will be the primary market of the startup.
Okay, right on time, but if there is just one last short question.
Maybe a little bit about the exit. How do you plan your exit?
Yeah, so, well, we currently don't plan the exit because we started developing the idea a year ago. When it comes to the exit, I guess if it becomes of a national interest, especially to us, it's then the exit is probably the as a community of the banks who would be the owner of this, as it's like, for example, with Swish.
Okay, Nice. Thanks, Dusan. Thank you also the investors. Don't forget to evaluate the startup. And now we're gonna move forward with InsureCap, where we have Ales from Slovenia. As I mentioned, it's very interesting when an idea arises, when the founder encounters a problem in real life. And yes, I'm curious if Ales encountered the problem in real life and decided to create InsureCap. So, Ales, you have 5 minutes of pitching and afterwards 5 of Q&A. Whenever you're ready, please start.
Okay, great. The insurance industry has gone through different waves of technology adoption. A century ago, we could interact by telephone. Then the user adopts fax, email, as well for interaction for incumbent agent. Today, we can download apps or use web portal. But until today, nothing has changed. You need to specify the location and the time for the insurance, identify the items, subject, and assets to be insured, select which risk and coverage type you would like to have. So there is no data point inside, no capability to augment the underwriting process, the risk assessment, and such experience bring possible coverage gap and certain uninsured issue. The problem with incumbent is that they don't have a touch point with customer lifestyle data. Yes, there is IoT or wearables, but they are too costly and only deliver transactional data. Our solution, the business idea is very simple. Just take a snap, an image, and receive the insurance coverage. AI agentic capability will perform, execute tasks in the backend. Let me show you how we do the magic with the multimodal use of AI. First, user simply upload images and our system generate a caption from the image, extracting context and details. This is the foundational pillar of our AI assistant, ensuring precise understanding and interpretation of user needs. The core pillar, this agentic action task, is the capability that compute a proper insurance product line based on the item from the image caption, execute premium calculation logic, offer personalized coverage, and finally issue the insurance policy. All of that is our SaaS, API-driven plug-and-play technology stack. As you can see in our demo, it allows to receive caption as landscape or activity motion, also a semantic search for items from living room to sports gear. It could be also used for claims, but that is something that we would love to explore in the future, mature stage. This is our roadmap. And we are looking at 50 key seed capital, mainly for functional MVP and crowdfunding campaign, because we believe that we could disrupt the B2C insurance industry simply by leveraging the agentic technology and the concept of peer-to-peer mutual coverage, simply providing this algorithmically driven risk-sharing platform solution. So in a nutshell, InsureCap delivery a novel approach of prevention. This aim to nudge and decrease risk, a peer-to-peer insurance coverage pool, and on-demand personalized insurance through the business model of MGA broker agency. My name is Aleš Furlanić, and I have more than 10 years of experience in the field of digital transformation, leading and managing projects, mainly in the insurance industry. And I would love to transform the sector with a novel proposal, just an image at a time. I'm eager to see your question, how we would love to develop and embed our solution in Discord, Viber, or WhatsApp. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Aleš, for the pitch. Very insightful. I welcome the investors now the Q&A session. Yes, any question for Aleš?
What's the
Sorry, no, lady first. Yeah.
what's the revenue streams behind this? How do you plan to make money?
Yeah, the money is coming from the fee of this MJ brokerage. So in practice, a percentage for the selling of insurance to the end customers.
Okay, so once a year, basically.
No, for each policy, a percentage. No, it depends. Currently, as I know, it's from 5 to 10% from the premium.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so I have two questions. So one, if you can a little bit more elaborate this peer-to-peer insurance. So I would vouch for something that you insure, or if there would be a pool of people which would be giving money instead of into the bank deposits to this pool, and they will get what better interest. Why would I be motivated to vouch for somebody?
Yeah, the concept is working like a syndicate of Lloyd's of London, and in practice, yeah, this pool capitalization is coming from peers. So in practice today, insurance company need a lot of capital to pay the claims, and from that perspective, we would like to change, because help people to pool the money in that syndicate capitalization. But yeah, using this algorithmically driven approach, we could breach all the capability of today insurance segment.
There was one project in Slovenia it was called InsurePal. It was built on blockchain, and it was I think very similar. So based on this peer-to-peer insurance, and I think it didn't go well. My second question, a real short one. We were discussing with Zavarovalnica Triglav this exact product. So instant insurance on demand, when you will be able to take a picture of I don't know, bicycle and insure it on demand. And that was 6-7 years ago, and they didn't decide to go into that direction. Maybe can you comment on that? Why they didn't decide to do that?
The comment is on that because we believe that this on-demand insurance must to be, let's say, coverage per day or per the event, not for the entire, let's say, month or year. Probably you have encountered these difficulties, because today insurance from the underwriting perspective said, okay, if you insurance a bike, or better said, you would like to coverage the bike during the summer, it is more costly during the winter, because all of us know that you doesn't need the bike during the winter. And from that perspective, we take a different approach on, let's say, usage-based coverage.
Okay, thank you.
How big is your team? Who's working on this project?
In practically only it's bootstrapped currently. Yeah, it's some kind of demo idea, but yeah, we are going further to pitch and try to apply for some accelerator. We have already applied to lab accelerator in February, and some, let's say, team of developers helped me bring this demo to life.
Okay, how scalable is this?
Yeah, in practice, we let's say the business model is built around this API technology, or better said, some kind of plug-and-play solution. And yeah, the end game, it could be some kind of marketplace in Azure portal or AWS. But in practice, we would like to deploy some kind of functional MVP firstly into Discord, to grab, let's say, some kind of community of gamers, because if you know, you can receive their screen share or deliver them some kind of detox, or better said, nudge prevention regarding gaming, or also avatar skin live coverage. And this could be some kind of, let's say, fast adoption for early adopters.
Okay, one last or two last questions for Aleš. You were so prepared, Peter. I trust you.
No. I have some additional questions, but I'm a lawyer by profession, so my questions always go towards the regulation and licenses, and I know that once you are in fintech or insurtech business, it's a tough questions for founders to answer this question. So my question would be: do you believe you will need some kind of licenses, or you will be only an infrastructure provider? That would be my. What are your plans?
Yeah, the current business model is to be infrastructure provider, as I mentioned, also deliver this plug and play API solution. But yeah, if you tackle this B2C segment, as you mentioned, InsurePal, or better said today, they named to Vouch, you receive a license from Switzerland, and in practice you can brokerage all around Europe.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Alex, for the presentation.
Thanks.
Thank you, the investors, for the insightful questions. Yes, don't forget, investors, to evaluate the startups. You have the Google form in the chat, as well as to not forget to vote, because at the end of the day, just one startup will be fast-tracked at the tournament, where it will have the chance to win the Oscars of the fintech startups. All the other startups that are participating will receive a startup pass, but just one will be in the tournament. So that was it mainly of the pitching session. I'm also saying this information for the viewers that will watch us. Don't forget that you can also connect with the founders and also the investors. And again, you can meet them live in June. And now we're going to go to the fireside chat, where we'll have insightful discussions with the investors. Just want to remind that the purpose of the demo day is to connect the different ecosystem from the different countries, and the focus on this demo day is mainly on countries like Croatia, Serbia, and Slovenia. The startups and the investors are from the mentioned countries. So we know that these kind of countries have different cultural aspects. So I'm curious, I'm launching a question now to you guys. If this cultural fit, how important it is mainly to you when you decide to invest in a startup? Let's say let's say you guys decide, you from Slovenia or Croatia decide to invest in a Serbian startup where there are some cultural differences. How do you assess this kind of fit? Is it important to you guys?
Maybe I can start, because
Yeah.
my grandfather was from Montenegro, so my mother's surname is Mitrovic. So I would say that I'm not the best one to answer this question, but I don't see this as an obstacle. Where I see a challenge is once you are in a let's say more or less regulated business, as fintech is or as insurtech is. So the problem is, if you have a country or a startup from let's say Serbia, which is outside of the monetary union and the EU regulatory framework, there I see obstacles. Because, for example, in Europe we have this PSD2 regulation, which is regulating financial institutions. In Serbia there is also some kind of regulation, but it's different. So if you are fully licensed startup in Serbia, that doesn't mean you can export freely services and to European Union. Here I see obstacles. So I would say it's not cultural fit question; it's more a regulatory question.
Interesting. A regulatory question. Other perspectives. I'm curious about also other perspectives.
I really don't see any obstacles in of course, what my colleague mentioned, but majority of startups actually set up their companies in different areas, in states, in Ireland, in Dubai. So this is how startups actually avoiding these traps. But in general, investment, at least for us, is always about technological and business solutions. So we are looking for innovation in the market. It really doesn't really mean anything if it's from Serbia, Slovenia, Croatia, Montenegro, Macedonia. It really doesn't matter.
I mean, if I can give my 2 cents here, I think for us, like having boots on the ground is really relevant. That's why we have 4 different offices. I think it's important that we're on the same page as to what a VC track for a company actually means, as in how long we're going to stay there and what the exit will be and in what time frame. So more than just like having some sort of being on the same page when it comes to cultural differences, it's just understanding and having the same goal in mind. In terms of like the regulatory aspects, I think you have to get a bit creative in terms of how to set up your own businesses to kind of have the biggest amount of value getting out of it. But yeah, it's complicated because there's so many different regulatory frameworks, and especially if you want to go then abroad to US or something like that, it just becomes a bigger issue.
It's so funny how you said you got to be creative. You know, it feels so financial oriented because everything in the financial zone you got to be creative. Yeah.
I mean, you got to be creative when it comes to kind of setting up the legal entity, making sure that who has the most, let's say, voting rights and who makes the final decisions. But yeah, also from a tax perspective, of course.
Mili, I think you wanted to say something.
I mean, I would say that the most important thing is the founders themselves and their ambitions. Like, for example, discussing with Uplati, I think the name, there was the third pitch. I mean, they never mentioned anything specific in terms of other countries and going out abroad and having the proper due diligence in understanding how different they are compared to tons of similar platforms out there currently. So that's kind of the most important thing, I would say. Like, we're an extremely small market from the global standpoint, and it's for the investors, it would especially they are regionally oriented, it makes no sense to be it makes no sense to divide countries in such way, because then you would lose a pool of potential startups to invest in. Just one country, anyone from the region, is too small for a decent investor to invest in solely.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, Mili, what you said about the ambitions of the founders. This somehow leads to the different question that, yes, you can continue if you want, namely the challenges and opportunities of founders in Croatia, Serbia, Slovenia, comparing to other kind of markets. Do you think there are some? Do you think that the founder could have such big ambitions that is not necessarily suitable for the market that he activates in?
I think this is a market question, actually. If it's like a maturity of the market question, and we're still, I would say, in early stages where we're still trying to understand better how our companies can go abroad and how they can be more ambitious in terms of not just focusing on the local stuff, but going away to any other country they find suitable for, any other global region they find suitable for. And this is really, this is a variable of time. It will take more time, more learning, more knowledge, and more connections between other markets and our. So the cost of getting out and the ease of getting out keeps getting lower, because without this, it's very difficult for those companies to stand out.
Indeed, the cost is getting lower in order to get out. What do you think, Bojan? Do you think are different challenges, opportunities for startups in some type of countries compared to other kind of markets?
It's really about the maturity of the market. Like Mili mentioned, we're still a mature market. We're still small market, and we're trying to adopt to all new options that we see abroad. And yeah, basically that's the main issue.
I'm curious, because Serbia is not in the EU, and there are different kind of incentives for startups in this sector, mainly from the EU. Do you think this is some kind of disadvantage for the startups that are trying to create something in Serbia?
It might be,
But kind of challenge, or this, you think it's a challenge that is not necessarily so so important for the founders because they're resilient and they find other options of growing.
It might be, but as we said, a lot of creativity is on the market, and different startups finding different solutions how to avoid this. Serbia market itself is again still young market for startups. Yes, we are growing. We have more and more VC funds which are monitoring our market. And regarding the incentives and regarding the subsidies, let's say we are harmonized with all EU standards, and basically I would like to say that in the next couple of years there will be no any kind of differences.
It's this kind of mindset that's a healthy mindset. I'm curious, Tina, Peter, what do you think?
Maybe just if I may add something. So let's take an example of Slovenia. So it's a really small country, but for startups, there are some, I would say, very, very positive sides of that or aspects of that. So for example, in practically 1 or 2 steps, you can approach everybody here in Slovenia, meaning a CEO of the biggest bank, of the biggest insurance company, and that's definitely something that is positive, let's say, for a startup searching for a strategic partner or a pilot project. Also, if you are in a regulated business, you can approach a regulator, and you will get for sure a meeting in a week or 2. For example, I was working with one German or what was it, Austrian, German or Austrian startup, also in fintech, and we asked a regulator for a meeting, and they proposed a date, I don't know, 2 or 3 months later. So that's something that's what I want to say is that we need to focus on positive aspects of small countries, and this EU support framework was mentioned. This is something that I see that usually startups are not aware what exists in the ecosystem. So what kind of grants exist, what kind of co-founding programs. So I think it's a task of everyone in the startup ecosystem which is aware of this kind of programs or support schemes, that we need to make founders, entrepreneurs aware of them, so that they will be able to seize all the possible opportunities, to get the best advisors from the startup list, which are supported by public funds, to get to introduce them these voucher programs and so on. So this knowledge is something that sometimes lacks among the founders.
I'm sorry, if I may just jump in. This one was really interesting in terms of, as you're a small country, you tend to get faster to, bigger companies and let's say more C-level executives and decision makers in those companies, which definitely is the truth. But then on the other hand, it's also quite risky because when you go out to another market, like for example US, and I've literally went through this whole process myself, so I'm kind of know how things go. You all of a sudden get slapped in the face because from the position where you can quickly reach to some high points and really make a deal, which undoubtedly is a good thing because you can test, you can learn, and so on. Again, it's very much risky because when you go to a bigger market, you understand that basically you are at a point 0 still, and you figure out how difficult it is actually to reach the potential clients and go higher up the ladder. You come to a point where you really need to think about completely changing the strategy and thinking how you're gonna position yourself over there. And this is, for example, on Farsi pod, this is why I asked the question, okay, where you are right now and what are the markets, because they have good traction here. There is still no highlight on the presentation of a good traction out there. And that's like, I would say for them, it's the major challenge. It's a great stuff what they do, but will they really gonna stand out outside and do all the political things necessary to stand out with a company is a huge question.
That's why you need to have a good VC, right? Backup. They should be the ones kind of bridging that.
Yeah,
It's all about
maybe.
networking. Or, I mean, if you're an American startup, you don't have kind of this experience in Europe, so you have zero. If you're European and you have something here and you go to the US, at least you have something a bit more to show, right? It's probably a bit of a different conversation starter. And I think that's the role of a good VC, bridging this kind of, let's say, network gap. Otherwise, it would be kind of hard to justify a lot of things.
In theory, yes.
But yes, Tina, you can offer us more information of regarding the support, because basically we are discussing about here the support that the VC can offer to a startup. What's the support behind the financial one? Is it something strategically connecting with other important potential partners, mentorship? What kind of support do you also offer besides the financial one?
I think it varies based on the startup and the founders. Like, you've got founders that are going to need help opening a bank account, but then there's going to be founders that are going to need help setting up kind of a sales strategy or how to approach the decision makers within big enterprises. So it really varies. But I think at the end of the day, you kind of have to be able to answer questions, not with, I don't know, but let me give it a thought and we'll figure it out together. Because you have such a big network, right? So I don't know if you're a startup in the Western Balkans. In our team, we have a variety of experience. I've worked in Switzerland and in England, and I've built myself a network there. So whenever there's a startup that wants to go to Switzerland, that's where I can help. I can help them find or connect to the right kind of entities that will help them build that, let's say, entity there. I will not do it for them, but at least I can point them to the right people, and then the ball starts rolling. So I think it really depends, but it should never be just financial support.
Other opinions?
That's also our investment philosophy, I would say. So not giving only a funding in currency to our portfolio companies, but also to offer them a network to potential business partners, to potential strategic partners, or biggest clients. So I would say that at least what I see in the market. So now, at least here in Slovenia and in the region, it's I would say that we are getting many more new VCs. So I would say that the money is not a problem. So the problem is to get a pilot project, to get a first paying a big corporate client. So sometimes I would say that smart money is much more important than euros on a bank account.
True. Yeah, Millie, you're nodding your head.
No, I mean, definitely. There's no doubt about that. There's definitely, I mean, any network, any connection, any help you can provide to companies from your knowledge is absolutely something that VCs, especially in the developing regions like ours, is that they need to focus on. There is no doubt.
Mm-hmm. Is any of you having a potential successful story of a startup that the way that you help them in providing them smart money, like a potential partnership or something that helped them really grew? Is there something that come up to your mind?
What do you mean exactly? In terms of
the way that you help the startup more than with financial support, offering them somehow maybe mentoring or making them some connections that really help them grow.
I will, I can reply to this one. I have the startups where I've literally become a friend with the founders. So I'm like hanging out, being in a conversation, constantly having different discussions, connecting, and so on and so forth. So it's I would say it's a must that you create a relationship with those companies and help them in, like, everybody has a different knowledge. Lawyers has a completely different background from somebody else, and when you're in a conversation with startup, you're gonna definitely help them a lot. And I mean, so that's, yeah.
I mean, you help them already before they become your portfolio company, right? When you're going through the investment process, the due diligence process, that's also beneficial for you to connect them with potential clients, because this is how you validate stuff. So effectively, the relationship has to start way before you transfer the money on their bank account. It starts when you have the first conversations, because you have to figure out who your target customer is and like whether you're speaking the same language, right? Like there's one thing saying it, but then another thing just actually going there. So for us, it's connecting them with what we think might be a potential good ICP, and then going from there. So yeah, like before we even do anything together, we try to get on the same path, make it investable for us, to put it very bluntly.
It's very nice words that you said. The relationship starts before wiring the money. Indeed, that's a healthy way of doing investments in startups. Okay. Now
I'm gonna have to drop off. I have another meeting that I have to prepare for.
yes,
but
Me too,
really
in 5
appreciate
minutes.
your time, because
Yeah.
I wanted to say that the next thing will be the announcement of the winner in the next few minutes. And yes, really appreciate your time that you have offered to me and the insightful answers. I'm sure that the viewers will appreciate it. So here you can see everyone, the founders, the investors, and we're going to announce the winner that will be fast-tracked at UNCHAIN FinTech Festival at 19-20 of June. So you can hear so you can imagine actually the drums in the background and the sound of the winner. And yes, please, if you can turn your cameras on, that would be amazing. And no further other words. Yes, the winner is Farsir. We congratulate you, Matiza. It's amazing.
Congratulations.
This is how the investors have decided.
I need to unmute. Wow, thanks, guys. This is a very nice afternoon. Thank you for great questions, and thanks to UNCHAIN for the opportunity to present in front of everyone. And really looking forward to the live event.
Yes, really. Yes, you will be fast-tracked at the tournament, and yes, really looking forward to meet you live. And congratulations. Also, the other startups will receive a startup pass that they will able to join to the event. Investors the same, and yes, everyone is welcomed. The viewers, so that they can connect with these amazing people that are changing everything that's happening in the ecosystem. Mainly, this is what the purpose of this kind of event. To make the ecosystem better. They are different, but still, although they are different, we have approaches that we can collaborate on and make it a better place. So networking, collaboration is the key in everything that we do. Yes, thank you everyone for participating, and yes, see you on the 1920 at Oradea at the UNCHAIN FinTech Festival. Thank you.